Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that figures out whether you should stay at home, on your butt, on your sofa, or get up and go sit down on your butt in a cinema to watch things. My name is Tosin and I am the host, who has been called both obnoxious and stupid on YouTube this week.
Oh.
Yes. But hey, I mean, obnoxious is a new one on me. Anyway, I'm based up in the United Kingdom, somewhere in the middle of the country, in a place called Bromsgrove near Birmingham. And joining me, as always, on the Isle of Wight is Shaun Harris.
Hello.
Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
And joining us all the way from London, our London correspondent, Holly Neslane.
Hello.
Yes, this makes a nice change. We have a full complement this week as opposed to last week, which was largely just me talking at Shaun. And Shaun... and Shaun very graciously sitting down there listening. I was editing last week, so I was going, that's a lot of me talking. That is a lot.
Sounds very unlike you, Toes. Very unlike you.
Yeah, I know. A lot
And
of
Shaun
me
retiring and quiet.
I know, and then I put up a short on YouTube, and someone says, "Who is that obnoxious guy?" it was actually one of your. It was when you were reviewing Loch Ness. So if you look for the full Loch Ness review that we put up on YouTube. So we have one comment on it, and the person just kind of goes, first of all, this was on ITV, not BBC. And why is the guy at the bottom right so obnoxious?
Yeah.
And I was like, bottom right, oh, that's me. Oh.
I watched it on Netflix, so it doesn't matter where they thought they saw it. It was on Netflix.
It's like, yeah, so it's, but anyway, okay, let's kick off and talk about what it is that we have seen in the cinema this week. We'll be talking a little bit more about YouTube correspondence later in the show, but let's kick off. Shaun, what have you seen in the cinema this week?
Okay, in the cinema this week, I've seen Nobody 2 and Eddington.
Nobody 2.
Nobody 2 and
Eddington.
Eddington, yeah.
Okay, cool. And Sharon?
I have seen Eddington at the cinema.
All right. Was that a previous screening or was that a previous screening or
Yes, preview screening.
Okay, cool. And Holly, cinema.
I've seen nothing at the cinema.
Ooh.
Nothing in some weeks. It is a sadness.
I'm guessing this is why you and cinema buddy Steph sort of like front load a whole bunch of things, so to allow for a fallow week like this.
Yeah, exactly. The mixture of going on holiday and having work to do. An unfortunate combination.
Work.
I know. Whatever next.
All right, and I have seen Together. I have seen Together in the cinema.
Ooh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
All right, cool. And how about at home? Let's go in reverse order. Holly, anything at home?
Yes, I have seen Dangerous Creatures
Okay.
and Gator Swamp. Which is just what you'd think it is, except, yeah.
Well, you see, the thing is, like, that title alone makes me want to talk about it. But that title alone also makes me think that we're going to the 1-star territory. So, I think.
But I've done it for everyone else. I've taken one for the team, even if it took me 3 sittings to get through it. Okay. I will tell people about it. It's the last thing I do.
Okay, fine. And let's have that as the last thing we talk about on this show. So I'm going to put Dangerous Creature so that there's at least some intrigue as to whether Netflix or cinema is winning this week. And Sharon, how about you at home?
I have yet to complete anything at home, but I am midway through a couple of things.
Okay, cool. And Shaun, I mean, usually I would ask you what, but at the moment I think we have quite a tight clock on this week. Shaun, what have you seen at home this week?
Okay, well, at home I've watched lots of other stuff, but the stuff that I haven't reviewed would be Mandy, which was on BBC iPlayer, and I binged watched the whole 4 series and episodes of that.
Yep.
And then there was a film I watched, which I put a couple of weeks ago, which was Dead Before They Wake.
Okay.
But the other stuff I've watched is stuff that I'd seen before. I don't know if we reviewed them, but I've been watching, I'll tell you what, I've watched Caligula, The Ultimate Cut, films of the Cold War, Juliet Diablo, and just sort of I've gone revisiting a couple of 70s, like, Italian vampire flicks. But
all right, cool.
But I think Mandy would be the one I'd like to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know that you've been talking about that for a couple of weeks and how taken you were with Mandy. All right, cool. So let us kick off then, and let's kick off with cinema, as is our own, and we are going to kick off with Nobody 2. So Nobody 2. This was Shaun and I have seen this, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll give a little bit of a prezi, and then Sean can go far away and tell us what he thought about this. So, as the title might suggest, it is a sequel. It's a sequel to Nobody, which starred Bob Odenkirk. And the big thing about this was that it was from the same group, 87 North, who brought you John Wick. So the stunt guys and everything like that. And this was Bob Odenkirk making his entry into the Geriaction thing. The idea behind it was that there's this guy who one day he's living like a normal suburban life, has 2 kids, has a wife, all that kind of stuff. But then something happens one day that makes him kind of snap, and they realize this guy was not just a normal suburban guy. This guy was Black Ops or CIA, or essentially, this guy can take out a busload of people on his own. And so the film carries on, and like, the whole thing, and there's a Russian mob that gets involved, blah, blah, blah. And in this one, when this film starts off, it sort of like has like, the aftermath of you see there's this montage of family life sort of juxtaposed with him doing his work, which is kind of like he's at home and his wife is making food, and his wife is like, oh yeah, are you going to be back home for dinner and everything like that. Meanwhile, he's busy like, killing people in the corridor, and after he finishes, he takes his phone and goes, yes honey, I'll be back home soon, and everything like that. And so this is his job. He goes around beating people up. Colin Salmon shows up to tell him that like he has a debt to pay, and like when he finishes paying the debt, he'll be allowed to stop doing these jobs. But he says he needs a break. He wants a holiday because it is intimated that his wife is essentially getting tired of this and beginning to think, why are we even a family? And you have all of the signs that you put in films that say your wife is thinking of leaving you. So he decides, like, let's go on a holiday. Let's go on a holiday somewhere. Let's go to holiday to the only place my dad took me on holiday to when we were kids, because and let's create memories with our family. Let's create memories with our kids. And he goes there, and wouldn't you know it, that the place that they've gone to happens to be like a drug running front, and blah, 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 and then something happens, and then he gets in again, and blah, oh, God, my God, what do you mean that thing exploded? Oh, what do you mean you punched somebody in the face? What do you mean the sheriff is corrupt? What do you mean? And so on and so forth. We have Nobody too. Sean, what do you think?
Okay, yeah, so I didn't know what to expect. I thought, well, how can they follow up? Because Nobody, it was like the first Nobody was a film on its own, really, wasn't it?
Yes,
you
yes.
could see.
It was quite happy to be a standalone.
Yeah,
it was
quite happy to be a standalone. So, yeah, this was a real big surprise. It's just a 90-minute film, which was actually perfect, what we'll talk about later, I'm sure, about another film. But anyway, so this was 90 minutes of just pure fun. It knew what it wanted to be. Yes, I would say perhaps some of the things were a little bit crazy, lots of things flying about, which normally I would moan about, but I knew what I was expecting, and it was done in a comedic way. Do you know what I mean? And the characters turn up from the old ones.
Yeah, once you have Christopher Lloyd, we have Christopher Lloyd
and
RZA
from
Wu-Tang Clan, coming back as Hutch's brother, Harry.
Yeah, I always remember him as Man with the Iron Fist. So but anyway, so all the old characters turn up, and it is loaded with action. It's fast paced, and it was just a really enjoyable film. I thought this was I was really surprised how much I actually enjoyed it. It was just a proper caper, and didn't let down, and it just carried going. Yeah, I was mildly surprised with this.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Christopher Lloyd showing up, chomping on a cigar while firing a Gatling gun.
Gatling gun, yeah, that's it. Tommy guns, Gatling guns.
Tommy guns, Gatling guns.
Whoa, Tommy
you're
gun.
kind of like, and I think, and honestly, this film, you know when they talk about Geriaction, this Geriaction thing that kind of kicked off with Taken, of old men kicking ass, essentially. Old white American men kicking ass. That's what Geriaction is essentially happening. Essentially happens with Geriaction. So with this, yes, carry on, Sean.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the actor who played the deputy copper, the one normally he plays comedy roles, doesn't he? I don't know who that actor was. Not the top sheriff, but the baddie. The baddie.
Colin
the one that does the drug one. No. He looks, he was the tall one that was really nasty when they were doing in the factory place, and he's like the last one to survive. Not the one that.
Well, no, I don't remember that one. I don't know. I didn't recognize. No, I mean I didn't recognize him when I was watching the film.
Oh, okay. I've seen him, but normally he plays in like comedies. He's normally like the sidekick to some. So he's normally a comedic actor.
Well, to be honest with you, it's not. I'm not surprised. I won't be surprised if that was the case because I mean, Bob Odenkirk himself was a comedian. That's how he started off. He was a comedian. So it's kind of like it doesn't go for the stereotypical who you would expect to be the action stars.
That's what I was sort of saying.
And I think that's the whole thing with this whole Geriaction thing. And I think there is a bit of it where there's one particular scene because they have Bob Odenkirk. This film has, like all these films do, it has like a big massive showdown in the end, and this showdown happens at a water park, and there's a scene where you have Bob Odenkirk and John Ortiz running around, John Ortiz especially, looking like the least action movie type star in the world. And I was like watching this thing going, okay, I understand what this is. This is total wish fulfillment for the older man. This film is wish fulfillment for the older man. Thinking, yeah, you know what, I bet I could still kick some ass. Yeah, I bet I could throw a couple of grenades down a water slide.
Put a few telemines in World War II.
Yes.
World
War II mines in a ball pit. So I'll give it. The film is inventive. I mean, you have Sharon Stone who shows up as the bad guy called, what's she called? Salando or Teleman. I can't remember that. Yeah, I can't remember what she's called, but it's and she shows up and I think it's Sharon Stone is having fun. And it's kind of, you can almost sort of feel like the way they sold the film to her was like, hey, Sharon, do you want to come be on a film and just be crazy for a couple of days? And she's like, yeah.
That's it.
And that's what happens in the film. So I think all in all, I think I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 because there were some bits where I was kind of like, okay, why are we making if you're going to make a sequel to this film, don't try and put too much story in it because we know why this film is here. This film is here to be Geriaction. It's wish fulfillment for the older man. So just get to it and give us that. But you're trying to give us this thing about the family. You're trying to link it to consequences after the first film, and we're not here for consequences.
No, we just want action.
We're not here for consequences. And you're trying to put this old stuff in here about this and fathers and sons, and I'm like, that doesn't really work. And you can see obviously because after what happened in the first film, even Connie Nielsen, who plays Hutch's wife, Becca. I mean, Connie Nielsen, she spoke about the fact that in the first film she was sad that she didn't get to do any action. Yeah. So obviously this one they go and give her action, but when she goes to do the action, the way they do it, I'm like, but haven't you just left your kids in dire danger to just?
They'd rather.
Yeah, but that wasn't a plan. Like when she left.
Well, yeah, because they had the discussion, didn't they? He goes, "Oh, I got other things to do."
Yeah. He said he had. Yeah. So RZA says that, Harry says that, but Becca has no idea that that's happening. So she has no idea that. So anyway, so there are a couple of things that makes me go, this is a 3. It's a high 3, but it's a 3, and the main reason it's a 3 is because it tries to put a storyline in there that it can't really hold up, as opposed to just go, look, we know it's a dumb film, let it be dumb. So I think that's it. So it's a 3 for me. Shaun?
Okay, for me, I mean, bearing in mind that the day before I sat through something that Sharon will talk about later. But for the time it was, I really, really, totally had such a good time with this film. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So I'm going to have to give this one a 4. But for enjoyment factor and surprise, and so I'm going to give this one a 4. I really, really, totally enjoyed it. I thought it was way above my expectations.
Yes, but I think that the filmmakers have achieved what they wanted to achieve because I think Shaun is bang smack in the middle of the target audience of this film.
Yes, I think that's probably it. It's like you were saying. Yeah, I am. I'm the I'm that action hero or wannabe action hero.
Yeah. It's like I could still.
Up here I'm like 25, but physically I'm like the age I am. So
it's like I
could still tote a couple of 45s and.
Kick a 20-year-old's ass.
It would have to be quick, though. Tell you, if I ever got in a fight, it would have to be finished within 30 seconds. Otherwise, it'd be like.
I reckon Bob Odenkirk could start up a business, Hutch Mansell's School of fitness. All right, cool. So now let us go on. Holly, are you okay to talk dangerous creatures? You are on mute.
That's not very helpful, is it? I am absolutely ready to talk about it. I am getting up because I will forget all of the key details and getting it up on IMDb next to me because I can never remember who any of the people are.
Okay, it's just because I saw from your face, I wasn't sure whether you were looking up stuff that we were talking about or whether there was something else going on in the background, like a
There
cat.
are many things going on in the background.
Like a cat had
Many,
just set
many
fire to the
things.
curtains or something.
Oh.
No, fortunately, the curtains are all intact, and I can see both the cats, so they haven't broken anything.
All right, cool. So tell us
Yet.
about Dangerous Creatures.
So, Dangerous Creatures is a film set in Australia. It opens with a young man and a young woman hanging around near a dangerous animals, not creatures. I'm giving you the wrong name. This is why you're confused.
Okay, yeah, because when you said set in Australia, I was thinking, was this like
one.
yeah, no, I was thinking, was this no, what's the name? The
No.
no, Kate Winslet and Melanie Linsky movie directed by Peter Jackson, but no, that's Heavenly Creatures.
Though I would actually like to go and watch that again because I haven't seen that in many years.
Hang on, wait,
So-
is this the Sharky movie?
Yes.
Oh, we've reviewed this.
Oh, well, that's no fun, is it?
Yeah, the one with Jai Courtney feeding stories to sharks.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah, Sean reviewed this a while
Well,
back.
that's no good. Well,
Yes.
I can do a card. Well, in which case, I will give you 30 seconds of what I thought about it.
Okay.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous, marvellous fun, quite well put together for something that was completely pointless.
Okay, cool. You know what this means,
Does
right?
that reflect what Sean's thoughts were?
Yes, pretty much, I think, doesn't it? From what I remember, from what I recall. I think that pretty much.
It was a lot of
I
fun.
enjoyed the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. In that case, Holly, you know what that
Gonna
means,
have
right? We're gonna have to talk swamp. What was it called? Swamp monsters. Swamp
Gator Swamp.
Gator Swamp.
Gator Swamp.
Okay, cool. Tell us about Gator Swamp.
Okay, it's a special film. Gator Creek. It's not even swamp. It's creek. It's the same difference.
Gator Creek.
It's a film.
Gator-
It's set in a swamp, which is why creek seems entirely inappropriate. It's in the Everglades. It begins with four friends. I think it's four. It might have been five, who are trying to go somewhere, and it's not entirely clear to me why they were trying to go somewhere. It's not to say they didn't tell you. I just have no idea what it was. So rather than drive there, they decide to get a plane. One of them is scared of flying. I don't know why they got a plane, apart from the fact it would be quicker. So they get onto a plane, and then, for reasons, the plane crashes, and that's very sad and not good. And then it turns out the plane is in fact not a licensed / registered whatever plane, so nobody knows where they are. And there's this group of people who are stuck in the middle of the Everglades with nobody who knows how to find them and no working equipment, and they're in huge alligators. And even
the plane was
before
being
it
flown by a
apparently-
gator.
And apparently prior to this, there was something to do with drugs, and it really wasn't clear what was going on. But the gators have clearly been exposed to the drugs, which I'm assuming is cocaine, but I'm not absolutely sure. There's lots of very worked up alligators, busy being very angry about things.
I have a sneaky
Some
suspicion.
people are hurt, but it's not clear who's been hurt.
I have a
one
sneaky
of the friends was
suspicion.
very nice, but maybe she is, but she probably isn't.
I was just going to say, Holly, I have a sneaky suspicion that this might have been made in the wake of Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. Do you know,
That
I
is
think I've seen this.
entirely possible.
I have seen this. I'm pretty sure I've seen this film.
Well, the
That's what
original
Holly's
title
talking
was
about.
apparently The Bayou,
The Bayou,
which is
right,
interesting
okay.
because it doesn't appear
It's-
to be in
It's like the
desolate
people on the plane.
Louisiana Everglades.
Oh, there's someone on the plane looks a bit Hispanic-y, like with a moustache. Am I right?
Yes, somebody has a
Yes.
moustache.
Somebody has a moustache. So yeah, I've seen this. I can't remember when, but I've definitely seen this because, like you
it
say, in
came
the
out
wake
this
of
year.
Cocaine Bear. Yeah.
It was out this year. It is the
Yeah,
girl
cool.
who's scared of planes. Apparently knows a lot about alligators for reasons, and so she provides advice as to how to avoid the alligators. And so they go around trying to avoid the alligators. And people get eaten by alligators for reasons, and the alligators are all super aggressive because they've all been, snorting cocaine, and some more people die. And it's all very sad. And it turns out that they were going because they have the ashes of her dead brother, which they're trying to scatter somewhere for reasons. And apparently it's her fault that her brother died. But I have no idea how or why it's her fault that her brother died, because it might not be her fault. But the friends liked the brother more than her. And it seems that he was an older brother, so I'm not really sure how the friend circle actually works here, but they're probably all at college, and she's scared of flying, and they're in a great big swamp with some very, very angry alligators.
This sounds to me like, somebody had signed up to a weekend course on pay me $500 and I will tell you about how to write a screenplay. And they've just added in all these different tropes into that. Okay,
it took me 3 attempts to watch this film. 3. I mean, I didn't start it over and over again, which is possibly why I don't remember if there was any logic to the beginning, but I don't think there was.
Why would you?
It is not a good film.
How many stars?
I'm giving it 1 because I'm feeling generous and I can't get it 0. Apparently it has 4.1 on IMDb, which I can only assume is because the people who watched it
made it.
Had the volume turned off and cannot see.
Or the people who all the people who've watched it and rated it are the people who made it.
Oh, I forgot to add, gators. One of them takes an egg.
What?
Obviously, one of the people in the plane crash takes an alligator egg.
Why would I think
if I remember
Jurassic Park 3?
I seem to remember that one of the gators takes a big chomp out of a satchel of, it's like you takes a big satchel with it. Yeah.
But there's an egg as well to add to the profundity of
they're quite
stuff.
They're quite fun, those sort of movies, really, aren't they?
It's a very bad film, but it is quite fun.
Now, see, Sharon goes on about Snow Beast, and I've never seen Snow Beast.
I love Snow Beast, the original Snow Beast.
Right.
I can't say I would rate highly the second Snow Beast, but the first Snow Beast is work of genius.
I'm surprised that they made it. Well,
that one of Sharks Under Paris was good.
Oh,
we can't hear you, Toes.
Yeah, sorry. So I was like, I'm
surprised
they made a sequel to that, to Snow Beast. But anyway, okay, let us move on. Let us move on, and let us get on to Together. Together, the film that last week Shaun so Shaun and I were talking about movies last week. I was talking about horror movies, and you were surprised I went to see Weapons. And I was saying the problem is that the films with intriguing premises seem to be the horror movies. Like Weapons had a very intriguing premise. Yeah. And this film, I was like, I don't want to watch this film. I was telling my wife, I was telling her the whole way, I was like, I don't want to watch this film. But the premise it's kind of an interesting premise. And the idea behind it is that you have this couple that you meet at the beginning of the film, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie. And they're a long-term couple. They've been together for a while. They are leaving where it's like a city. I don't think it's ever mentioned, but it's kind of looks like New York. Like they're in New York, and then they're going to move to somewhere they're going to move to somewhere that's a bit more countryside-y. And but you have all these things like when they're at the leaving do, they're matching in the outfits and everything like that, and you get this idea that their long-term relationship, they're beginning to rely on each other a bit more and all that kind of stuff. They end up moving to this place, and then through things, stuff happens that means that they start essentially their bodies start melding towards each other. There's this yes, Holly, you are right to want to throw up. There is this, so there's just this irresistible attraction that sort of draws them towards each other, and that means that they're going to end up becoming more and more one person. And it's supposed to be I think a sort of metaphor, the metaphor about people in long-term relationships and how more and more they kind of become one person, everything like that, but done in a very kind of David Cronenberg way. I did not enjoy watching this film, and as somebody who has avoided a lot of sort of David Cronenberg movies and everything like that, because I just think that's just a little bit yucky. That's just a little bit and I did not enjoy watching this film because throughout this film, I was kind of watching the film, and they take a while to sort of build the relationship, explain the people, give the characters backstories and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting down there going, no, just look, we know they're gonna get melted. Just get it over with. And I'm watching the film, just kind of going, get it over with. We know what's gonna happen. Get it over with, and then I can go home. So I think that this film might not have been made for me. I feel like there's some bits of it that are a bit clever, but I feel like there's a bits where I would almost have been happier if in this film they had just had this whole thing where they started getting attracted to each other and everything like that without having to create a folklore or really having to create a reason as to why it happens. But they spent a large part of this film explaining why this phenomenon happens. But if that is why that phenomenon happens, it just creates a whole bunch of other questions. There is one character that I believe is played by Damon Herriman, and that character, there's so many questions that I have. I'm like, wait, but if that happened, then what about there's just a lot of what abouts that come up because of this character and all that. I think Dave Franco and Alison Brie, they are actually married in real life. They're married in real life, so they are they're believable as a long-term couple. There's all these things that come up and everything like that because they have this sort of co-dependent relationship where he can't drive, so she has to drive him everywhere. She can't cook, so he has to do all the cooking and all that kind of stuff. And then where the film ends up in this kind of like, wait, what? God. And I feel like it's done for almost shock value, but it doesn't necessarily make sense for me with what has happened before that. But having said that, everything I have to say about this film is couched with the term that I found the central premise of this film icky as hell. I mean,
yeah, that's the trailer. The trailer was like,
yeah, we were like, no.
I haven't even seen the trailer. I've only seen the posters. There's the posters of them kissing, and there's a poster of one with their eyes like close to each other. Yeah, eyes up with the eyelashes sort of like, sort of reaching for each other and like entangling. And I found that icky as hell. And I spent the whole film with feeling like something was crawling on my skin as I was watching it, just kind of going, no, oh my God, no. And because, to be honest with you, they're actually kind of quite reserved with the body melding stuff. They're quite reserved with it. But you spend the whole film worried that it's about to happen. Every time they come into a room with each other, you're like, oh, it's gonna happen, oh my God. I was watching this film with a hoodie on, and I had the hoodie pulled down over my face as much as I could so that I could cover my eyes at any point. And after watching this film, now, if you are okay with all the body horror David Cronenberg stuff that he did, like if you're okay with The Fly, if you're okay with that one with James Woods where he turns into a VHS tape, like Videodrome or something like that. Yes, Holly, that's a film.
What?
That is a film.
And you mock me for my bad shark films. I feel this needs to be noted.
No, I have never watched this film. I just know about it. I have never watched this film because I cannot handle
it. Makes avalanche sharks seem sensible.
I cannot handle the idea of a man's stomach being turned into a VHS player. And it's like, not where they got the idea for Teletubbies from. Never mind. But yeah, if you're okay with those, then you might be okay with this. But all I can say is, but for me, as somebody who doesn't particularly like that kind of stuff, I kind of wish I'd never watched this film because there's some images in my head now that I need to get rid of. So, but all in all, if I think about it, it's a high 3. It's a very well-made film, and I feel like all the icky is almost a 4, and I think the only reason I won't give it a 4 is because of my built-in ick factor to the central purpose of this film. It's like, so yeah, everything is well made, and I feel like the reaction I'm having to the film is the reaction that the filmmakers want me to have to this film. So I think, well, fair play, but I'm not watching it again. Ever again. Keep it far, far away from me. Like they should have stayed far apart from each other. I wanted this film to stay far away from me as possible. Yeah. Okay, cool. So 3 stars for Together, and can we please not talk about that again? So now let us okay, now we're gonna have a quick break, and we're gonna in this quick break, what we're gonna talk about is because last week we spoke about a film called Tin Soldier. Yeah. And this got me going off on one because I was like, essentially, how did this film get made? Where did they find the money to make this film? Who is paying Jamie Foxx and Robert De Niro their going rate to be in a film that is never going to make any money? And we put that up on YouTube as a short, and that was where somebody called me stupid because they said, why are you coming onto social media and complaining about it? Why don't you just go look up how these things work? And I was like, well, yeah, I can't be bothered. But we have Holly here, and Holly can kind of explain tax breaks in movies to us. So Holly, as much as you can, let's give ourselves 2 minutes. Can you explain how the heck tax breaks work?
So basically, it's the same way that a tax incentive works in things other than movies as well. So if you, and to take the UK for an example, if you make a film that is British, heavily use of inverted commas here, you make a British film and you're able to demonstrate certain requirements and you are able to film a certain amount of it in the UK. It turns out if it's a TV program, it has to be longer than 59 minutes, because I did look this up earlier on.
Okay.
Then you are entitled to a tax rebate. So long as you submit all of your taxes correctly, you can get up to, in some cases, a 90% tax rebate on everything that you have spent. So suddenly it costs them an awful lot less than the amount of money it actually costs. So whilst they spent that money, they've then just got a whole slug of it back once they've submitted their corporation tax returns.
So are you saying, for instance, okay, so let's look at this. If I have $1 million and I give $1 million to make this film,
yes,
the government will give me back 900,000.
I'm not sure quite how much, but they will give you a reasonable amount. If certainly, if the government say the government took £1 million from you, yes, they would then give you 900,000 of those £1 million back.
If there was a 90% rebate.
Just being here, yeah.
So Netflix has got a film. Netflix has got a film that they can put up with big stars, and it doesn't matter if it's any good or not,
because it hasn't cost them in reality what you think it has, and they can offset any losses on it against their profits elsewhere.
Okay, so
basically, it's a giant tax wheeze.
Okay, yeah, but if that is the case, right? If that is the case, why then would you make a film why go get Jamie Foxx and Robert De Niro? Why can't you save more money by putting some nobodies in the films that nobody knows about? Because you're going to put the money in and you're going to get the money back and you're going to spend even less money.
That is a bit of logic I cannot entirely fathom, but presumably they feel that by having them, they will get more little money. Ergo, whilst they will still make a profit in real terms, because they have, but not so they'll profit in real terms, but they won't profit on paper. So they still want to get decent viewing figures, but it doesn't matter as much. So there will be some sort of sweet spot about how much money you spend and where you spend it and how you spend it. And there we start going down a tax rabbit hole that I do not understand, because I am not a tax accountant nor any sort of accountant. And I definitely don't work in media, but there is an interesting rabbit hole of...
So it's a massive thing of, so you have to be seen to be making a film.
Yes.
And whether the film becomes, because for instance, I know that a reason why a lot of the Marvel movies have been made in the UK is because the UK government decided to give a massive tax incentive to the makers. So they went, okay, cool, it's actually cheaper to make these films. But those films, they want them to make money. But if they make like, okay, Avengers Endgame makes $1 billion, but if it makes $1 billion, that's cool because they have more profit because they spent less on it because of the tax rebate. But these films, it's kind of like, we're going to make this film, we're going to give it no advertising, we're going to put it out there, but we're not expecting anybody to watch it. But we don't care because we've gotten 90, well, out of 1,000, essentially, I've instead of paying $1 million to make this film, I've only paid like 100,000 or something like that. Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Because I look at this, it's kind of like there's something nebulous going on there. There's something nebulous going on there that it just, like, for instance, if because I'm thinking if the government are going to give me money to make a film that no one's going to watch, it's going to be like, the Fantastic Four movie that was made in the 80s that they made just to keep hold of the rights. Make something, cast people that nobody's ever heard of, make a film, no problem, I've still got my money. And I had to pay these people even less. But to get Jamie Foxx and Robert De Niro, why put them in that's the bit I don't understand. Does a tax incentive say you must have recognized stars? Does tax incentive say you must spend this much on your actorly wage bill?
There will be really weird things attached to them.
Okay.
without any particular certainty of exactly what they were, are thingy. But there will be kind of
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay.
things.
And my next question is like, then why don't they put that money towards a good film, like people who are actually trying to make, or do they put that money? So something like Rye Lane that was made a couple of years back, would that okay? Holly, you have done a valiant effort. You've done a valiant effort in the amount of time that we have to try and explain this to somebody who doesn't understand it. I still have questions that I feel might only be answered when you get into the film studios themselves to say,
Yeah.
what the heck are you doing?
But I am going to make inquiries from random people.
Yeah,
So
okay, Holly, make your inquiries. Make your inquiries, and if you find people who are looking for a tax rebate because they're trying to make a British film, Shaun, Sharon, and I can write something. I can grab my cameras. We can go down to the Isle of Wight. We can film something. Give us the money. We will do. We will do stuff with it. If it's never supposed to make a profit, we are here to benefit as well. We can do that because
Yeah, we could do that.
we can do that. We can get a crew together in no time whatsoever. Make a piece of rubbish that will fight with Gator Swamp, and we'll just remake Gator Swamp in the Isle of Wight to make it in Newland or Newtown. Yeah, make it in
Newtown Creek. Yeah,
Yeah,
Newtown
make it in
Creek.
Newtown Creek. Yeah, that's
We've got harbour seals there, so it could be sort of like, what sea life swamp.
sea life. It's like sea life danger. Or just call the film Danger Sea Life.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, we need to move on. But Holly, thank you for that. Thank you for
my
that.
pleasure. I'm sorry it was not more helpful.
No. It was more helpful than anything else I've heard. It's definitely been more helpful than people on the internet calling me stupid for not understanding it.
Absolutely. To be fair, I think I called them stupid back, if I remember rightly. So.
Yes, you did. And I was more like a de-escalate thing. I was like, okay, cool. Anyway, go and look for our YouTube shows to see what I said. Anyway, now let's move back to TV and let's talk Mandy. So, Shaun,
Mandy.
this is something that you saw. Tell us a story about how you ended up watching Mandy.
Okay, so this is how I ended up. My mum. I was sat with my mum, and my mum tends to watch the same channels all the time. And I was sat there, and I sort of do stuff on the iPad, sort of thing. And so anyway, this program was on called Mandy, right? And I sort of, I mean, I don't know why my mum was watching it because there's nothing. There's no way that I would think she was just watching it, and I ended up started watching it. And I found it incredibly funny. And my mum was laughing as well, and I haven't seen her laugh. And I don't think she even knew what the programme was about, but she was laughing. And I thought, I really enjoyed this. And then so I went on iPlayer, and they've got the whole series there. And this has been a thing since 2019, I think. It's been
Yep.
And I couldn't help it. I was there, so I stayed down. Mum went up to bed. I started watching it on the tablet. I was watching the episodes on the tablet, and then I put it on the TV, and and I just watched the whole lot. And it was. I don't know why. I'm not. You know me. I'm not a comic fan, am I? Really? I'm not like huge when it comes to stuff.
Comedy is not usually the thing that you would go for, yeah.
But this really touched a spark in me. She's a job seeker. Basically, she's unemployed, and she gets all these jobs, but she doesn't hold them very long. And it's just situations like she vapes in the toilet. Well, yeah, so she's like a smoker, so she's like in the toilet, stood on the toilet seat, having a fag, and the whole thing's come up. She's She's in disastrous things, and the soundtrack is just great. There was one. It was called Job Seeker, and there's this band called the Sleaford Mods, which and they was like Job Seeker, and so the soundtrack to it was all really, really good when she's going after each episode had different. And I know I'm going to run out of time here because I talk for ages about different episodes, but there's one episode which is taken straight out of The Birds, and she's got this big beehive. Anyway, one of the jobs is to clean this church, and they say, "Oh, can you get this nest down?" She's wandering around with a big ladder, and an egg falls in her, and
because she has like a beehive hairdo,
monster beehive hairdo. So you can't really see it there. Anyway, so. This is just one of the episodes, and the bird hatches out like that, and all the birds come round, they go mad, and there's this scene like from straight out of The Birds where she looks like Tippi Hedren, and she's like screaming, and all these birds. And I mean, it's in hysterics, and the last episode there is she goes, she's got this day, she goes on a date and she's got a date with Paddy McGuinness, right? Paddy
I've seen a
McGuinness.
clip of that.
And so, you've seen a clip of that? And
Yeah, where she sat in the chair.
she's but she gives these dream sequences, and it's just like, who's the guy who goes, "The light is on, but no one's home."
Oh yeah.
With the girls,
Robert Palmer.
yeah, with the girls playing in the background, and there's just her, like, so she's on the drums and she's on the things, and she's got that pout, and Paddy McGuinness is singing, doing the and it is just, the whole thing is just really, really stupid and hilarious and really, really good fun. Every episode I was in hysterics as well. Like, what's it called?
You have got that visual comedy, haven't you? We've talked about that clip behind you, where she's wearing this leopard print from head to toe. And yet she's seated on a leopard print settee with leopard print wallpaper, and she just blends in. She's completely camouflaged.
That's the episode where she's supposed to beat Paddy McGuinness, and she's so excited, but that's when she falls asleep and so she's sort of
walks right past it because you can't see her.
And I think we have to say that. So I think it's created by and stars Diane Morgan. And Diane Morgan, who a lot of people will know as Philomena Kunk. She does like a whole bunch, just like Kunk on Earth, everything like that. Where she's sort of like doing she's doing parodies of like BBC documentaries and everything. And I love Diane Morgan. I think Diane Morgan is hilarious.
I've only just discovered her, and I mean, some of the stuff she's doing, the Kunk thing, and
Sean. I think you would like the first thing I saw her in was a Charlie Brooker thing on Netflix called Death to 2020.
Right.
And it was Death to 2020, and she's like one of these people she's described as the most average person in the UK, and she takes it as a compliment. She's like, oh, and it's just like the way she acts. That I saw her in Motherland, and I think Diane Morgan is a genius. I think she's an absolute genius. And Mandy is one of those shows that I've been meaning to get around to. We watched the first episode, but because I think a lot of the comedy is a little bit cringe comedy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and you talking about the ick factor when I'm watching things. I was like, I think my wife couldn't quite handle the cringe. I was like, no.
I can understand. Yeah, there's a couple of things where, like, I'm just thinking about. Oh yeah, the other one. There's a woman, like a girl at school, that bullied her or took a job. She was going to achieve something, and this girl took it over, and she joins a line dancing thing, and all of a sudden this woman. So anyway, it's just I mean. I had so much fun with this. Really, really enjoyed it. It was a real decent find for me, because I don't know how I'd never seen it before, and I would recommend this to anybody, and it's get a big 4-star for me for this one.
4 stars. 4 stars for
enjoyed it.
Yeah, 4 stars for.
And the episodes are only like 25 minutes, so whatever. So it's a good, easy to watch.
No, I think I was about to call her Philomena Kunk.
Mandy.
No, Diane Morgan and Mandy. Okay, so like 4 stars for the. All right, cool. And now we have been hinting at it, and we've been inching toward this slowly throughout the whole episode. We've been inching towards it. Eddington, Sharon, please take it away. You have sat down there patiently. This is the thing you are here for. Tell us about Eddington.
Well, talking about inching slowly towards something, I think that sums up the film. Wow. Basically, let me go to the
Love it, Sharon.
This is a film set in May 2020, where it's a small town America, and our main character is played by Joaquin Phoenix, who is the sheriff of this small town. He has 2 deputies, and it's a town where nothing much is happening. And those of us, obviously, when you hear May 2020, 2 quite seismic events happened during 2020.
Yes.
The first one affected sort of as pandemic as globally. It was the pandemic, and in May we were all around the world. Most people were in lockdown in May 2020, and then also in May 2020 there was a death of a man in America that sent ripples around the world, and that was the death of George Floyd.
Yeah,
and these 2 events sort of converge in this small town. And you see how, as sort of social cohesion falls apart in this small town, you see the life of Joaquin Phoenix character, the cohesion of his life begins to fall apart as well. And then he makes some choices, and he does some things that sort of feed into that idea that sort of society as we know is disintegrating. And for him particularly, everything, all his sort of things that offer him stability are all start disintegrating. And his life very, very slowly, very, very slowly, descends into chaos. And we see it all unravel, these structures, these relationships, these things that, you know, his sort of fixed points disintegrate, and he does as well to many extent. And so some of the touch points in it is you meet Pedro Pascal's character is the mayor, who is very much into about let's enforce the lockdown, let's protect ourselves against COVID, and also about looking to the future, investing in data and building a great big sort of data warehouse in their town.
Yeah.
And all these things that sort of goes against Joaquin Phoenix's character, the sheriff. He's asthmatic, so he doesn't want to wear a mask. He doesn't want to do the social isolation things. He doesn't like the idea of this progress, this big data center, and the fact that deals are being made to sell off lands that could be sort of tribal lands as well as they're part of their town. He's against some of these things, and this sort of confrontation between the two starts off as just like a friendly rivalry, and that with sort of echoes in the past just descends into sort of violence and chaos in the end.
Yeah.
Violence, chaos, and confusion.
Confusion. That's as polite as I can be about it, because I found this film achingly slow. And it got to the point where even just like halfway through, I was thinking, when is this film going to end? And then every time you think, oh, this is heading somewhere, and it's coming to, oh, is this going to do? And then it just like, oh, and it just keeps going, and it just kept going. And then you think, when it got to the end, it was just like, is that it now? Can we go now? So it had some interesting ideas, but the delivery of it was just, you know, it wasn't email, it was like Royal Mail 1855 or something. It was just slow in its delivery, and to me it lost that impact. I didn't feel that tension, that growing sense of menace, that growing sense of things are falling apart. I just felt, come on, just get on with it, tell the story. And it introduced some other characters like his wife.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Well, I'm trying to think what her she's in the picture. Oh, I've
Emma
lost her
Stone.
name.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Yes, and she gets caught up in that we're in this sort of guru type man. He's like a weird. Austin Butler plays this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sort of outlying figure, you know, who's a conspiracy theorist who sort of sweeps her up and sweeps her away, and leaving again this sort of this void in his life. That he fills this void with just
apparently slow moving nothing.
Yeah, but it was incredibly slow moving. So I can't say any more about that. But Shawnee, over to you.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I hated this quite as much as Sharon, but I must admit, it was so long. It was. I was finding myself, but I could feel Sharon doesn't normally get like that, but I could, because Sharon was sat next to me, and I could just, you know, like Sharon sometimes feels my Sharon. You feel my huffy. You pick up my body language and huffy enough. I was thinking, I can tell Sharon's really, really struggling with this one. She's struggling with this one, bless her. Yeah. But no, I didn't. I thought it was really, really confusing, a bit silly in parts. Totally, I don't know where some of the threads were going from, and like Sharon said, with, you know, the guru sort of thing just turning up and and it was just odd, you know. It was just really, really odd, really, really confusing, and totally just like way too long. It felt like 100 years. You know what I mean? He was there.
2.5 hours,
and I think I think that's the reason probably why I was so pleased that I saw Nobody, because it was like, wham, you know what I mean? After, and that's what I say, seeing that afterwards, it was like, that's a perfect film. That's what we want. 90 minutes, not 375 years, you know.
I'll tell you one thing, that Nobody 2 is quite a palate cleanser, because I had a chance to see Together. It was either I would see Nobody 2 first and then Together afterwards, or see Together and then Nobody 2. And I'm so glad I saw Nobody 2 second.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like, that was okay. Cleanse my mind.
Yeah.
Cleanse my mind. All right. So how many stars would you give Eddington then?
Okay, well, I mean, I let Sharon go, but I'm going to say I didn't quite hate so much as Sharon, but I did find it real slog. Had some interesting concepts, but it's going to be a two for me. This one, it's a two, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so I'm veering between a one and a two.
Mm.
I just, I would, to be kind,
Yeah.
I'd give it a two.
Oh yeah, don't
But
be kind, Sharon. You don't deserve. Not. I could tell
but to
the
me,
way.
but personally, it was a one
Yeah,
because
I'd agree with
I
that for
found
you.
very little to redeem it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those films because I keep a note of the films I've seen.
Yeah.
I know that give it a little while, I'll have forgotten all about it.
I think it's the
It'll be
first time.
a memory
Yeah,
of like tedium.
I've when we've been a few times before. Sharon was quite agitated actually. It's the first one of the first times I've seen her like, oh my god, like angry almost, you know. And I mean, Sharon never ever gets angry, no matter what situation. But
Oh
it was
no, but
almost like that was too long.
there was a secret screaming you guys went to where Sharon left.
That's true. Yeah, but that was a
Oh,
different concept. But I mean,
yeah.
there were different reasons why
I
Sharon
left
left
that
that one.
because I thought it was
Yeah,
irreligious.
it was a religious one. But this one, yeah, was
It was just I thought that just I
yeah.
thought
I mean, I could
you
just tell. It was like, oh,
wasted
poor
my
Sharon.
time.
We give her a big hug before we had to go.
I just feel like it wasted my time.
Yeah, I
And
know, I
there
know.
are not many films I regard like that. I mean, I actually despise some films
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
of their just the sort of the conception of them.
yeah.
But really didn't like this one because I just thought it was a waste of talent
Waste of time.
on screen, and they just wasted my evening.
They did, yeah, because
Uh,
that was the first comment you made when the film finished. Well, that's 3.5 hours of my life I won't get back.
oh my God, Sharon, you sound like
Sharon,
me.
yeah, I know. It was like
No, you
it
sound
was.
like me talking about Transformers the first night or the last night or whatever it was, because that was almost exactly my quote after watching that film.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, what a waste of talent and effort. Like, okay, so all right. Okay, so that is 1.5 stars for Eddington. 1.5 stars for Eddington. And okay, now the final thing we're going to talk about this week, and this is, I saw this because I've been wanting to watch it for a while. Just got my Apple TV Plus subscription back, and so I decided to go on and actually watch this film. And this is a film called Wolves. Wolves with spelled WOLFS, starring George Clooney and according to Shaun, the son of Robert Redford, William Bradley Pitt. And one thing I would say, Shaun, is like first up, right? This film is only adding fuel to your fire,
Why?
fuel to the fire of your theory about Brad Pitt's actual dad, because the final scene for this film, it's like the final shot of this film, I was like, I think somebody else might be in on the joke, or somebody else thinks that Brad Pitt is actually Robert Redford's son, because the final shot of this film is like it's such a almost homage. It's such a reference to the way a Robert Redford film ends.
Oh, wow.
So for that alone, Sean, I think I would be interested to see what you thought when you watched this film.
What's
But
it? Well, yeah, I checked it.
yeah, it's on Apple TV Plus, and the whole idea behind it is that it kicks off and you meet Amy Ryan, and she's a woman in a hotel room, in like a high class hotel room, and she's like you just see a black screen, you just see her like she's just swearing like something bad's happened, and she picks up her phone and you can see her trying to figure out who to phone, and it's like phone dad, no phone, and then she just goes to the number, phones somebody and says, the person who gave me this number said that if I was ever in trouble, I should give you a call. And it's George Clooney, and he's kind of like, don't worry, I'll be there in a second. And he's essentially like Mr. Wolf. That might be even why this film is called Wolves. He's like Mr. Wolf in Pulp Fiction, in that he's like, I'll come up, I'm the cleaner, I'll sort this whole thing out. He's like, don't worry, nobody does what I do. Go home, tell everybody, is there anybody who knows where you are? And he shows that he's very, very businesslike trying to sort this thing out. Then in the middle of him trying to sort this thing out and trying to get this body that is on the floor of a hotel room, and as he's trying to get it away, there's a knock on the door, and then Brad Pitt walks in, and he's like, nobody does what I do, I'm a lone wolf, and everything like that. And essentially it turns out that they are essentially doing the same job, and somehow they've both ended up in this hotel room to do the same job of getting rid of this body and trying to help this woman out, who it turns out is a district attorney. Sean, you're about to ask a question.
I wasn't going to ask a question. I've seen this. I've seen this.
Yeah, I think
I've seen this. I think
I think you might have said that they say it. And so then the film comes up, and the film takes place over the course of a night, where it like through shenanigans and everything like that, even though they're both like, I'm a lone wolf, I work on my own. they end up having to work together to try and figure out what's going on. Then it turns out that there's more stuff that's going on. There's a bigger conspiracy that's actually going on board, and they get embroiled in it, and it becomes a caper. The film is a total caper. It's kind of like almost kind of like a bit midnight runny, everything like that, of just what happens with these two people. And this film coasts, absolutely coasts on the star power and the chemistry that Brad Pitt and George Clooney have. That has been worked up in all the Ocean's 11 and Ocean's movies that they've been in together and everything like that, and the repartee that they have when they go back and forth to each other and everything like that. And it is a joy just to see them sit around being movie stars, quite frankly, just sort of chatting back and forth to each other. Some of the best scenes are the scenes where they just sort of sat down talking. It's you know when it's like when Brad Pitt does funny, when Brad Pitt decides to lean into the fact that like he's actually quite a good comic actor. You know that works out quite well. And so this film was actually, it's very enjoyable. There are a couple of logic questions I have because it's one of these ones where towards the end they try and explain the plot of what's going on, or why something goes on, or what goes on, and why all of a sudden somebody that seemed key to the plot is no longer that much key to the plot, and and I'm like, wait, and while you're watching it you let it fly because you're enjoying George Clooney and Brad Pitt talking, but afterwards you're kind of like, sitting down with a piece of paper going, but if he didn't know about that, if he did that, then why did that happen, and when did he come in, and that I'm not sure that makes sense. I end up and I'm not sure that makes sense. Although I would say one thing, that they have a guy in it called Austin Abrams who looks for all the world in this film anyway like a young Topher Grace. Like, so he looks like essentially, if this film had been made 10 years ago, his role would have been played by Topher Grace. But Austin Abrams is an actor who I'm beginning to actually look at, because I think he's quite a chameleon, because he's in this playing a young Topher Grace pretty much. And he is also in Weapons. He's the junkie in Weapons. And he's like totally different in that. And he's also in Do Revenge. Holly, you remember Do Revenge?
Yes.
He is in Do Revenge as the jock kind of like bad guy toxic, like, poster boy for toxic masculinity. And he's totally different in all three films. It's totally, it's like
that's good if you can get characters like that.
And the only thing is that if it wasn't for the fact that he said his name on it, I would not have linked those three characters. I would not have linked those three characters. So Austin Abrams, I think you should watch out for him. But all in all, Wolves I thought was quite good. I would give it I think it's a 3. It's a 3, but it's a high. It's a high 3, almost a 4, because it coasts by quickly. You don't realize the time is going. You enjoy it, but I think that the final shot of that film, Sean,
I've got a feeling. Is there like I could be thinking. I'm pretty certain I must have mentioned it. Is there like a girl in it on the phone that they talk to, or someone like that? I might. No, probably not. No, it's not.
There is a bit where they're talking to a woman on the phone.
Plays them off. Well, they want to play them off, but they end up getting together, I think. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
There's many bits in it where they're talking to women on the phone. There's many bits in it where they're talking to women on the phone. The reason why they end up working together is because of a woman on the phone.
That's it. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that one.
So now the only question left to ask people is, who do you think has won this?
This is a tough one. We've been all over the place.
Like everyone's lost this week.
We've had 1s and 4s and 2s and 3s and 9s and 275 hours.
Yes. Yeah. Ari Aster. I'll say Eddington was directed by Ari Aster. And ever since I read What Happens, because I've never watched any of his films, ever since I read What Happens in Midsommar,
I didn't mind that. It's quite funny. I didn't mind Midsommar.
Yeah, I think it's gone downhill since then.
Yeah. The thing is, I read What Happened in Midsommar, and I was like, I don't think I need to watch this guy's films.
Did anyone ever see? Was it like The Life of Bo Bunny or something like that?
Bo is Afraid.
Bo is Afraid. You saw that, didn't you, Tones? Did you see it?
No, I've never seen an Ari Aster film.
Right, okay. You just said that. Yeah.
I've never seen an Ari Aster film, and I don't think I want to.
No. Don't think I'll bother. I'm going to
say cinema.
I'm going to say cinema too.
Holly.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning to cinema.
Oof.
But it's a close thing.
It is a close thing.
Mandy could have swung it for TV.
Well, yeah, Mandy was a bonus.
It is actually streaming that wins this week. Netflix wins this week, but by a short while. So essentially, it's because of Eddington. It's because of Eddington, and it's also because Shaun gave Nobody to a 4, and I gave it a 3. So that kind of like pulls it just enough for Netflix to run out ahead. Right, thank you very much for joining us this week. And until next week, when we shall see what people on the internet think about us.
Please like us. No.
We're
not
to be honest with you, I genuinely don't care.
I'm not sure. That's it. No, you don't.
Generally don't care if people on the internet like me or not. It's like it depends on who they are. It's like so yeah. Until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me. I'm not sure what's going to be on next week. I don't know if we've got a lot out.
I can't think of it at the moment.
No.
Life of Chuck. That's about it, I think.
Life of Chuck, yep. And as I say, we got a secret screaming on Monday. So.
Okay. Okay. And now we shall continue with the goodbyes.
Sorry.
That's goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Out of order. We are not having a good goodbye day.
Yeah, I know, but I put it on Shaun. Shaun is our wild card. Shaun is a tangent master.
I am a tangent master. I am indeed.
Shaun is a tangent master. So Shaun is kind of like, oh, you know what? I think this is going way too by the book. We need to be a bit more. We need to be a bit more like 60s cinema here. This needs to be a bit more jazz.
Yeah. ADHD? What's ADHD, for goodness sake?
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you later.